my name is Helen and welcome back to my channel. Okay, so this has been a long awaited video, so this is me delivering. Also, yes, they're the same cupcakes that were in my last video, so if you have not watched that, I will link that video somewhere in one of these corners. I'm pretty sure it's this corner, and you can check it out after this video. Anyways, before we start, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Do your thing, and yeah, let's just get straight into my thought process of why I chose the college that I did. So I applied to a total of 13 schools, and luckily I was admitted to all of them. I applied to 4 safety schools, which were Poly Pomona, San Diego State, San Francisco State, as well as San Jose State. And I'm just going to go through each one. So for San Diego State, I love their campus, but the thing is they didn't have my major, like my exact major. None of my safeties actually did. So I just removed San Diego State from my choices. And then for San Jose State, I feel like it was way too close to home, so I removed this one too. I was born and raised in San Francisco, so I just didn't like the idea of staying in San Francisco for another 4 years for college, so I took this one out too. Lastly, we have Poly Pomona. The thing is, it didn't have my exact major, so I also removed this one. So right off the bat, I eliminated those schools. The next colleges I eliminated were UC Davis and UC Santa Barbara. So these were the 2 schools that I eliminated because, okay, UC Davis is located in the middle of nowhere, I feel like, and because I grew up in the city, I feel like the location wasn't ideal, so I completely just took that out of my choices. For UC Santa Barbara, I'm not gonna lie, I love the idea of living on the beach. I mean, come on, how dope is that? But like, I just didn't really see myself going here, and the major I applied for, I felt like was very vague and broad, so that's my reason why I didn't choose to go to UCSB. And next I eliminated Northeastern, University of Washington, and Boston University. So these 3 schools are all out of state. I live in California, so out of state tuition is crazy expensive, and I just didn't get a lot of aid, so it didn't make sense for me to like drown myself in debt just to attend these schools. So now we're down to the last 4 schools, and when I tell you that these 4 schools tore me to pieces, I'm not kidding. Like, it literally tore me apart, and I was just so stressed out when I was researching these schools and looking into like the different majors that they offered and the major I got into and just the overall like value of the school. I don't even know how to begin to tell you guys my thought process when deciding between these 4 schools, because if you know me in real life and you were someone that I reached out to, you know that I'm a very, very indecisive person. I'm like the most indecisive person ever, and you also know that I bounced between these schools over and over and over again, and it was just a whole mess. So after some time, I finally eliminated UC Berkeley, and it still kind of hurts for me to talk about this because I mean, it's UC Berkeley, but if you guys didn't know, I went to a very, very, very competitive high school. It was extremely toxic in terms of like competition. Like, I understand that a little bit of competition is necessary to like give yourself a little push or like a little motivation, but it was not a little bit of competition. It was excessive. It was just like a very unhealthy 4 years, and it definitely took a toll on my mental health. And I don't know, I just didn't want to go through another 4 years of that. So as much prestige as Berkeley holds, it wasn't enough to choose over my mental and emotional health and stability, if that makes sense. And then there were 3. I'm going to start with UCLA. Actually, not a lot of people know this, but UCLA was my dream school for as long as I can remember. I basically grew up in LA. I visit every summer and the occasional winter break, and I have family in LA, so naturally I've always just like carried the thought around of attending UCLA. But then I enrolled in my high school, and that dream kind of started to fade. And I don't know, maybe it was because I didn't want to get my hopes up, because there was just so many other people at my school who were a lot more qualified, and I was just kind of scared to like really announce how much I wanted to get into UCLA, because that would have just been way too set in stone for me. Hopefully that makes sense. So that's some context for UCLA. For UCI, I was actually admitted early as a Regent Scholar in their honors college, and I was also offered like a very generous amount of scholarships and aid, plus they somewhat like have my major. I also don't really know what I want to do in my major yet, but I was thinking of something on the pre-med track, so I wanted to have med school to be an option in case I wanted to pursue that. So their aid and scholarships really played a big part in my decision. So for UC San Diego, this was the only college I applied to that had my exact major down to the core. You remember how I mentioned earlier about how the dream of attending UCLA kind of started to fade once I started high school? Well, it was replaced with wanting to go to UC San Diego. My entire high school career, I just felt like I needed to get into this school for the sake of my major, but when decisions came out, so did financial aid, and they didn't really offer me much aid to attend at all, so I was like completely stuck. Considering like how much I wanted med school, or how much I still want med school to be an option, I just didn't think it would make sense for me to choose UC San Diego over UCI. but I was just still super reluctant on giving up UC San Diego. So now it was really down to UCI and UC San Diego because, like Berkeley, UCLA would have just been way too much to handle, especially for someone who's considering to go into pre-med, because internships, jobs, and opportunities would just be so hard to land. And even if I didn't want to go to pre-med, they didn't really offer me any aid, and I just didn't want to drown myself in loans. So yeah, as much as it hurt to like think about it, I also declined UCLA. Now we're down to the last two. And let me just tell you guys, I bounced between these schools for months. I had no idea how I was going to make my decision. I was just stuck between these schools for like a good month before I actually got an update from UC Irvine saying that they were going to offer me a full ride. I just kept thinking to myself, like, I can't give up UCSD because they have my exact major, so many research opportunities, and they literally have hospitals on campus. So the next half a month was just me refusing to let go of UC San Diego and trying to like come up with pros that may outweigh those of UCI. Before I knew it, it was literally 1 to 2 days before commitment day. And may I remind you how indecisive I am? Hopefully me stretching it out to the very end gives you an idea. So commitment day was in 1 to 2 days, and that's when I really started to look at the situation differently, and I based my decision on the fact that at UC San Diego, I would just be any normal UC San Diego student. On the other hand, UCI would be offering me priority housing, priority class registration, a full ride, which would also tie into me wanting to have med school as an option and save money in undergrad. Because when I looked into it, med schools actually don't really care where you went for undergrad. They really just care about your GPA and your MCAT score. So that way that I looked at the situation just made it easier for me to come up with my decision. Okay, that was a lot to get through, but I am super grateful to be saying that I have committed to UCLA. Okay, anyways, thank you guys so much for sticking around. I appreciate every single one of you guys, and I am planning to film a stats video sometime soon, so subscribe and be on the lookout for that. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys!